talking about Islamic civilization, we've got to understand what are we talking about based on the histories that I've read. So now my question is, who gets to measure the circumference, or who determines the circumference of Islamic education? Is it based on who, what, and when? Because when you get to read on Islamic history, the Western civilization is based on Islamic civilization that was in Baghdad and also that was in Spain. The scholars that you would find, Islamic scholars, they wrote books on agricultural treatises, they wrote books on astrology, astronomy, science, chemistry, and so forth. So now today, as they support on different subjects, or the support on Islamic education is just on Arabic and reading the Quran and Hadith, because if the Prophet ﷺ said knowledge is precious in the hands of the believer, what knowledge are we talking about? And if the Prophet said go as far as go to China in search of knowledge, so at that time you wouldn't find Muslims in China, you would find non-Muslims. But as he said that knowledge is a pearl in the hands of the believers, so I think that we've really got to review in terms of Islamic knowledge, what is Islamic knowledge? Because as Muslims, as Khalifas, whatever Allah has built in the universe and also in this planet, and when we study the trees and the chemistry, as far as I'm concerned, that is Islamic knowledge, because we should be custodians and we should develop that, but from the basis of the Hadith, but from the basis of the Quran. And that what made the civilization in Spain from the 7th century up till the 11th and 12th century dynamic up till today. When you read the history, the scholars, Western scholars, say the last time they've seen civilization was at the time of the Caliphate in Spain, because they were dynamic in chemistry and in everything that they did, because of the foundation that was. But now today, when we talk about Islamic civilization, what are we talking about? When we talk about Islamic knowledge, what are we talking about? Because I know scholars that were Hafiz in Quran, but they were mathematicians and also astronomers, because in the Quran Allah constantly talks about that. But today we have really fallen short, and we really limit the universal magnitude of Allah to something that is really, into one room. That makes us very not effective in the community, and it makes us irrelevant to the world that we live in. So basically, who gets to determine the circumference? Because the circumference is a circle of 360 degrees. But now in that circle, it feels that we're just occupying maybe an obtuse angle, and we think that we have it all, and that limits us, and we become, because the father of medicine is a Muslim. And when you talk about the word algebra, that word is an Arabic word. When you talk about, yesterday you also talk about the logarithms, the person who came with it was a Muslim. But now when you go to the ulums in South Africa, it's just not there. We're not pioneers. As the fathers of Western civilization was in Spain, those were Muslims in Spain. But now what are we talking about really when we're talking about education in South Africa? And now I think I should conclude and just, put it over there. Yeah.
Okay.